What's up, everybody? Today I'm coming to you with a video to talk about what I think is the best LMG in Warzone, and that is the Stoner. The Stoner has a very fast time to kill that is better than most of the all the LMGs until the first damage drop off, and after the damage drop off, it's still very competitive with a couple of the other popular LMGs. Is still beating out one LMG, and the one LMG that I'll compare it to has much more recoil because of the recent nerf. But I know what it is because of what I just said. But we'll go ahead and compare this a little bit. And it competes really well with a lot of the main ARs up until its first damage drop off. And even then, it's still a competitive gun. It's better because it's Cold War gun. It's got mobility. You get 75 round mag already, and this thing absolutely shreds. Along with it having like no recoil, so if you're hitting your shots, you're just absolutely racing people off the map. And you get a lot of shots. You get decent mobility with it, and it's just a really good gun overall. So let's go ahead and hop over to true game data, and I'll do some stat comparisons, and then we'll come back over here and I'll get into the loadout. Alright, and we are over on true game data now, and you can see I have the Stoner loaded in, as well as the Bruin, the PKM, the MG82, and the RPD. The Bruin and the PKM are popular when it comes to LMGs for Warzone. The MG82 is the new shiny object, even though they kind of nerfed it into the ground, and the RPD is just a trusty, reliable, very low recoil LMG. And if you're going to choose any of the other LMGs besides the Stoner, it would probably be one of these four. So as you can see, the Stoner up to its first damage drop off of about 59.4 meters is beating everything else. Then you look at the RPD, which has about the same damage drop off, and so it's just never beating the Stoner. The PKM and the Bruin has like no literally doesn't have a damage drop off. And the PKM by then has one, and they're barely beating out the Stoner, but I think the Stoner makes up for that because its mobility, due to it being a Cold War gun, is much better than these two. Plus, the Bruin's only got 60 round mag, and the Stoner comes stock with the 75, so it's got more ammo, it's got better mobility than these guns, and the time to kill is barely different. Plus, after 60 meters, it just comes down to bullets. And while the PKM and the Bruin don't have a whole lot of recoil, neither does the Stoner. So you're gonna be hitting most of your shots with the Stoner anyways. And the trade-off is it destroying both of those guns in the closer damage ranges. And most people aren't taking fights past 60, 70 meters. So, and the damage drop-off is just about 60 meters. So for most of its usable range, from about 20 to 30 meters where you'd be using it, it's beating out those guns easily, especially the Bruin. And the MG82 is the only one that's beating it after its first damage drop-off, but its recoil is so much stronger, it's going to be much harder to control, much harder to hit your shots. So the realistic TTK is probably somewhere closer to the Stoner. We are just looking at chest shots, but at a distance, you're mostly going to be hitting chest shots. We can look at stomach, where it's about the same. Now it's beating out all the other three guns except the MG82, and the MG82 is beating it early, but once again, it's got much more recoil than the Stoner does. Extremities. Now it's beating out everything again early. The MG82 is about even. And then the time to kill is much closer between that and the MG82. So not worth the recoil. And then we can go ahead and look at the head, where now it's beating the MG82 easily. Beating the RPD easily. And it's beating it in this up to its first damage range again for both the PKM and the Bruin. And barely losing out to the PKM and the Bruin. And well, like I said, I prefer the mobility trade-off, and I feel like the recoil is a little bit better. So let's go ahead and compare it to some of the popular ARs. Once again, I have the Stoner loaded in with the C58, the AMAX, the Fair, and the XM4. I left out the Krig, the Grau, and the Kilo, which all have higher pick rates than the C58 because they're more about easy to control, which the Stoner is, and they have a slower TTK than all these guns. So they're not going to be at the Stoner. Maybe after the first damage drop off, they're beating the Stoner, but early they're not, considering only the C58 does, and all these guns beat those three guns. So I went and compared it with these four because the C58 is arguably the best AR, especially if you're high skilled and the slow rate of fire isn't a problem for you. And it's beating everything but the C58 out up until its first damage drop off, and that's where it's a little bit tough. You got to consider what the trade-offs are worth. If the extra ammo is worth it for you, then I think it's worth it. But as you can see, it's pretty competitive. Considering this chart only goes to 0.85 seconds to kill, it's not a huge drastic difference. It just comes down to if you're hitting your shots with the Stoner, it could be closer to this. If you're missing your shots with these, which I don't necessarily think you will, because the Farah, the C58, and the XM4 all don't have a whole lot of recoil. And this, again, chest comparison, it'll start to lose a little more if you go head. It'll only really is beating out the Farah and the AMAX, but that is forever, except for up close with the AMAX. Stomach, it's just right in the middle, and extremity should be about the same. It's just about right in the middle. So let's go ahead and hop back over to Warzone, and I'll go ahead and show you my loadout for the stoner. Okay, and now we're back over to Warzone, and I'll go ahead and get into this loadout. So for the muzzle, we do what we always do. Agency suppressor. You get the sound suppression, the vertical recoil control, the bullet velocity, and the effective damage range. Task force, barrel like always, bullet velocity, horizontal recoil control, effective damage range, and the vertical recoil control. So with these two attachments, you're getting the best bullet velocity and the best damage range, and then we throw in a field agent foregrip like always, and with these three attachments you're getting a lot of recoil control. So then after that we go ammo. You can either go 120 round mag or the fast mag. I prefer the fast mag because I play a little more aggressive and I don't miss a crazy amount of shots unless I'm shooting over 100 meters. So I tend to like the faster reload. My engagement's a little closer, so I don't need as many bullets, and I tend to play aggressive, so I don't want to spend all day reloading, and LMGs already take a while. Plus, this fast mag doesn't give you any aim down sight penalty, and you still get 75 rounds, which is plenty enough. And then for the final attachment, of course, we have the usual axial arms 3x with the default reticle, because the reticle is so clean. If you look at the reticle, it compares almost to the VLK, because when they changed the reticles, they made the markings in the middle for the default so small. If you don't like that one, you can go precision. It's really clean. Or if you have the battle passes, I believe it was last season. I think it was last season. You go with this central one that's really clean, or whatever reticle you're comfortable with. But I like to stick to the default one. And then I've been pairing that with the PPSH, which is still a very underrated and underselected SMG in Warzone. So I go the GRU suppressor and the task force for the same reasons as the barrel and suppressor on the stoner. Tiger Team Spotlight for movement speed and aim walking movement speed. 55 round drum. You get extra ammo with no ADS penalty, and I think it's enough ammo. But if you want a little more ammo, you can go the 71 round drum. SMGs don't have crazy slow ADS. They have really fast ADS, especially Cold War ones. So the ADS penalty isn't huge, and if you need the extra ammo, that one works. But 55's been working for me, even though I mostly play trios and quads. And then Raider stock for ADS firing move speed, aim walking move speed, and sprint to fire time. You can go with the PKM stock to get a little extra aim walking movement speed, but since I'm always pushing stuff, it's nice to have the sprint to fire time. You could also pair the stoner with the LC10 and maybe the MP7. Those are the only SMGs I'd pair it with because they have a longer damage range. And you don't want to be caught running around with the stoner. It's slower, so you're going to run with your SMG, and if you get caught in a fight of around 20 meters, you're going to struggle with the other SMGs, especially the MP5. As good as the Cold War MP5 is, the damage drop-off is like 10 when you build it for its max range. Maybe 11. So this is the loadout I've been running. The usual perks, Semtex, Heartbeat. You can go stuns and thermites if you'd like, but it's up to your preference. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. My Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram are in the description below. I'll see you in Verdansk. Get frying. Have a good day. Bye.
Wow, let's go. I am the driver.
Kinetic.
Precision airstrike, take cover.
From this house.
Ah, so they are there. What's that?
There's just one up there still.
Targeted.
There's one on the other building. He was up top.
There's one in the window too. There's one right outside here and one in the window second floor. Oh, there's fucking the whole other team.
They're on top, they're on top.
There's one down up top too.
I'm on the fire. Oh my god,
Nice.
like
Oh, I just
No!
I got one now.
What's this random sniper?
For every.
Oh, the gas is there though. He's gotta come up. Oh, he just went this way. Yeah, he's over by TV.
Come.
Enemy UAV overhead.
We should make for the safe zone.
One.
Oh, down one!
Contact!
Behind the shed.
Right on the bar. Nice, nice.
Gulag. Surviving earns them redeployment.
They're rotating north of you, by the way.
You guys have to level up what?
From where? Up here. Give me a sec, I'll give you cover.
I got one down.
Enemy UAV overhead.
Coordinates marked. Still here. Still standing.
Enemy UAV overhead.
Fuck! Contact! Contact back on the clock! Incoming! I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Oh my god, dude. Rotating in behind y'all.
Your teammate was
Taking
sent to the
shots
Gulag. Your flight is ready to redeploy. Gas is moving in.
I'll
New
sleep
safe zone
when I'm dead.
located.
One's first floor here.
Right here on me.
Relocating. SMG here.
Right here.
Swap on.
There's another one.
UAV overhead. You're all that's left. Get it done. Enemy UAV overhead. Be advised, there's an enemy team hunting you.
They're right behind that truck.
Enemy UAV overhead.
We got one in that house too.
Down two.
Bounty target is down. Well done.
We got someone in this house.
To go.
Front, down low.
Holy sh! I couldn't see him at all. Oh my god.
Enemy UAV overhead.
One down.
Alright, help. Come. Broken, two broken, I have two broken. Come down this ladder.
Are you?
I am under fire.
Guys right
You're
now.
all that's left. Get it done.
Lauren, as soon as I jumped out of the building. Shot me.
Es que eres una rata, eres un...